Hello guys, welcome to Life Like Igloo. Today I'm talking about why I moved to Africa as a white man. It's not one singular reason, it's various things, and I'll just kind of discuss them, as I go. Colonization! No, that's not the reason I came to Africa. That's just why I have privilege, even here, unfortunately. I'm not going to have any particular order for the reasons for moving to Africa.
I'm really trying to hold it in.
Reasons to move away from Africa. My wife's flatulence. How dare you do this to my first video? I can't believe...
We'll edit it out.
I can't believe you've done this.
We'll edit it out.
Yeah. The first reason I will say is... Am I boring you?
No, bitch. Am I not allowed to be tired?
No, your yawn is audible though. How dare you breathe in my video? First reason I will say is following the love of my life. Because that's what I did, that's what it is. That's when we were living in the UK, things just, if you're in the UK right now, things are not so favourable right now. Things feel unfriendly and hostile and not nice. It was getting intolerable, especially for me and my wife, and so we came here to Africa, to Uganda, to live a nice and more comfortable life. What are you doing?
I'm going to go find something.
Okay. Me and my wife wanted to live a less oppressed, more comfortable, calmer life, and that's why we're here. And I think that's as valid a reason as any. And yeah, I'll get into more detail on that. There's all sorts of reasons why that's the case, and there's ups and downs to it. Very, very much the case. Second reason is, again, in England, housing prices, property prices in general, through the stratosphere, apart from in Wales, but who wants to live in Wales? I'm joking, Wales is lovely. I want a patch of my own to grow what I want, build what I want. Me and my wife collectively. I say what I want, but it's what we want. So yeah, we want to own, eventually get a patch of land here and grow, be self-sufficient with our own food and water and build our beautiful home, have a family, have animals, and just live that, what would you call it? Just live the dream, the rural, idyllic, nice dream that, for as long as I can imagine, when I think about what I want in my future, I just see a big, thriving garden and basically nothing else, apart from nice, beautiful family and a nice cottage and just greenery everywhere. That's what I want, and that's something you can have here in Uganda. In the UK, you have to be like mega rich or privileged or be born in very much the right place, which I'm trailing off a little bit, but another reason of moving to Uganda. The weather. Again, this is comparative to the UK, that's why I'm going back and forth, but if you know UK weather, it's very grey and very cold in the winter. That's one thing about here. You forget winter exists. Winter's not so much a thing on the equator, it's very, very stable. It's just, rainy and dry. In the UK, things freeze and then flood and they get baked dry, and then it's all sorts of things. It also what I just realised as well is that it causes the plants to have seasons as well, whereas here you could grow tomatoes all year round rather than only when it's hot, before the frosts come. But that's another good one, like agriculturally. Food, yeah, exactly. We want to grow our own food, and you can actually grow tropical food, all the nice sweet fruits, all the nice, really awesome stuff. I don't know how to put it, but in the UK, the fruits you can get is like apples, which is pretty good, strawberries, lots of little berries and stuff like that, which is all really nice, and I do want to get some plant samples to do that here. But here you can have like mangoes, papayas, jackfruit, they're like the size of a human being, dragon fruit, passion fruit, we've been wanting to grow those for ages, avocado, I could list it forever. We have a list written down of over 100 plants that we want to grow on our land. That combined, we just, if you're ever in a situation where you want to grow a bunch of plants it's a really good idea is to think of a meal you want, for example, like spaghetti, bolognese or whatever. You know you'll need like tomatoes, you'll need wheat, you need chickens for their eggs and the wheat for, you know, spaghetti and stuff. Maybe a cow, who knows? Do you want it non-vegetarian? Like aubergine, like onions, garlic. When you think of a meal that you like, the list just grows and grows the more you think of the ingredients. And so you could actually surround yourself with all of the nicest food you could ever dream of. Homegrown by you, which everyone knows is the best way, is the most delicious food, is grown by you and made by you. If you know, you know. Having stuff made in a packet from Tesco's, it has no soul, it has no life. But when you make it yourself, you have fresh veggies and cut them up and you all of that with all your nice, imagine you've got your own spices which you've dried yourself. Cottagecore dream, you know? We're in Uganda because my wife's Ugandan. It's her homeland, it's where she was born. And it just feels like the right place. She was in the UK, she had a vitamin C deficiency, you know? You know, she was missing the food. Like in the UK, it's very difficult to get things like matoke, stuff that any traditional Buganda person would eat as like their food that they'd feel nostalgic for. Here it's plentiful and it's cheap, really, really nice and fresh. It's where all the food from everywhere comes from, is, you know, Uganda and Kenya. And so it's much healthier for her. You know, some of her family's here. If we want to see them, it feels like the right place. I'm very slowly learning the language. I feel really terrible about how not quickly I've learned the language. It's been like 5 years now. I really need to learn to Uganda and I'm very ashamed, and I can pick up and almost like eavesdrop the odd thing, but I can barely finish a sentence, which is embarrassing, and I owe my wife and future children better than that. I fully acknowledge. I've digressed off the point like mad. It's pretty concise. Oh dearie Deirdre.
You said weather?
Yeah, I've said the weather. I've said like nice food, produce. I kind of loosely touched on that point as the first thing of it's very unfriendly and hostile in the UK. What I mean is the police are racist. There's horrible police brutality. You're not safe on the roads in the UK. They don't have a qualm about fucking your life up, especially if you have dark skin. You know the deal. It's racist. So, racism here, not so much a thing. As colorism, yes, very much so. Texturism, all of that colonial implantation, but there isn't a system to oppress black people here like the HMRC exists in the UK. So that is much better, it's much safer. The police here, they're not just gonna police brutality you because they feel like it. It's just better. They're not gonna kill you, or at the very least ruin your life because they're feeling a bit spiteful that day, you know. Not really even a competition. Oh, another thing. I would say quite easier to pursue your hobbies and your passions, depending on what it is. But for example, I like photography, I like carpentry, I like gaming, that kind of stuff. And here, everything is so beautifully well lit. It's the equator, you can photograph everything. The wildlife is absolutely amazing. That's another one, that's another whole other thing. The wildlife is wonderful, even in the city. The birds, like giant ass pelicans with 2-meter wingspans and all kinds of awesome things. Like, I've already taken so many good pictures. In terms of pursuing hobbies, like, you can get good raw materials here as well. Like, I like carpentry. I got whole big lengths of mahogany to be cutting up and doing stuff with. I'm currently making a big ass table and it's gonna look glorious when it's done. It's like my first big carpentry project and I'm really excited. People here, like, they're really excited about computer games and video game and the whole scene. It's because I think not enough people have access to it. It's not as commonplace as it should be. And so the way games felt hypnotic to me when I was younger, and like you kind of get used to it if you're around it all the time, but then you still see that awesomeness that and like that draw to it that you'd have felt as a kid, and you can see it in people here because they haven't experienced it as much some of the time. And it's nice to just like, you know, play games with people and do stuff like that. I haven't had much of a chance yet, but there's a big draw to it. And I even just want to have in one of my dream businesses starting like a big gaming hub center where, you know, you could pay for like a day to just like play whatever game you want on the system or something like that. That's the kind of thing if you had a dream, you can just do it here. There's probably 100 different roadblocks and planning permissions and shrines in the UK that aren't going to be as big as an issue here. So yeah, there's just more flexibility, there's more humanity, there's more understanding, less corporately invaded. I think that's pretty much it. I think I'm going to wrap this video up because I've been streaming my thoughts into the camera for a good 15 minutes now. Subscribe, follow me on Instagram. I have an Instagram, Life Like Igloo, I believe. And also, my wife produces music, Sticky Bunny Weird. Listen to her music, it's awesome. Look at my wife's channel, or our combined channel, Bunny Igloo, or her channel, Life Like Bunny. Links will all be down below, just like in those other videos, like our various channels across. Yeah, so I think that's everything, guys. Thank you so much for watching.